Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the PlaybookSports.com Horse Report on Prime Sports Network YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm by myself, unfortunately, recording the show on Friday afternoon. It's actually pretty late Friday afternoon, so we're pretty much 24 hours. No, actually, yeah, 24 hours, give or take, 18 hours late from posting this show. We do have some valid reasons. John's been under the weather. And because of that, matter of fact, he might have the COVID. And you know how that's happening and going around for everybody out there. So John's taking the week off. He's actually going to be taking some time off. We'll keep you updated on how that goes. And because yesterday we were going over our schedule, we kind of thought, okay, let's just take the week off. We've been going at this for so long without a week off. But then I just figured, okay, last minute, let's just we'll do something, just get it up there so we can let everybody know a couple of things. This was one of them. But the other thing is the fact that starting next week, starting our very next show, Chad and I will be going live. So this is going to give you guys an opportunity out there to interact with us through viewer comments, anything you want. You want to talk to us. So from now on, the questions that you ask us will be live on the air, and we'll be able to communicate with you guys back and forth. So again, Chad will be on next week, and if you have a bunch of questions for Chad, that's as good a time as any to get him out and to ask him what you think. And so that should be a lot of fun. So that's starting next week. But Chad couldn't make it today, by the way, because I made the mistake of saying, okay, let's just forget it. We'll take the week off. And then by the time I changed my mind and said, let's just get back on and at least do something and then tell them about the live show next week, it was too late. Chad had already exhausted up any time that he had to prep for the show. And so I'm doing it myself, which I think at this point, all our viewers have turned away. I'm going to do my best to go over the information that I have at my fingertips regarding, of course, sheet numbers and things of that nature. Hopefully my picks, which is really irrelevant, will also help in any way, shape, or form based on the information that I have here. And obviously that has all to do with the sheets. You can see up there in the ticker on the top of the template here, and it's been up there for as long as we've been doing these shows for the past 3 or 4 months, especially with Chad. You see up there, you go to the you can purchase a full card of sheets. I believe it's $35 for the full card. So in other words, let's say I'm going to be talking about 2 races at Gulfstream today. So for instance, if you really like the Gulfstream card coming up on Saturday, you go to the you purchase it for $35. Now, let's say you only want sheets for the 2 races that we end up talking about here on this show or on any show. You can actually purchase them at $5, individual prices, $5 per race. Again, just go to the and then, of course, most importantly, if you want John's picks, you know exactly where to go as well. Right there on the ticker, it tells you how to hook up on John's website at johnsheets.com. Speaking of John, he had the big winner last week, and that was in the Queens County Stakes. So we hope you took advantage of that one. That was over a $500 play that John had in the $25 exacta in that race. 7 with the 2, 3, 5, and 10, and it ended up 7-5 in that race. That was the one where Law Professor, the favorite, the odds-on favorite, won easy. But thank goodness, Naval Aviator, 30-1. He was over 30-1 at that point. Came on strong at the end to finish second because that's why he had the big payout. And that helped me out because I had the 257 exacta, but I only had it for $8. So I think my price ticket was a 180. It was like $400 less than John's. And by the way, I like that strategy. I haven't seen that or registered it before, and I'm going to use that on these occasions. So in other words, if there's a favorite that you really like Law Professor, and you just, you know what, I'm going with him. I don't like any other horse in the field. He's going to win this race. That's the way I'm going. I think the strategy that John has in here, if you've got $100 to wager on, like our budget, this is the way to do it. You match them up with 3 or 4 horses in an exacta, and you hope you get the one that has the biggest payout, like Naval Aviator. So yeah, I mean, again, I was surprised. Naval. That was the horse actually I put $50 on to win. So he did not come anywhere close to winning, but that was a horse that had 9, 8, 11, 11, 13 in his previous 5 sheet number races. That wasn't bad at all compared to some of these other horses that were out there. So I was still surprised that horse was 35-1. Great, excellent. John took advantage. I took advantage, and we hope you took advantage as well. So that was on last week's show. So now let's talk about what's going on for this week, and it's going to be the 2 races at Gulfstream, the 9th and the 10th. And not a lot to pick from this week, of course. Not many stakes races at all at the racetracks that we usually talk about. Slim pickings, in other words. And race number 9 at Gulfstream is a mile turf race. This is the Sunshine Filly and Mare Turf Stakes. And the really difficult thing about this race to handicap were the first 4 horses in the field. Why? Because I'm going through these horses the first time I'm handicapping them, and I'm not talking about usually when I if I have the choice like I had this week of picking races, I only look at the sheets. That's all I care about. I'll go through the sheets, the numbers. All right, so which numbers look like are the better horses? The better horses are usually the races that I want to play with, and usually the better horses, better races, so forth, and especially this week. So, and then you look at that, and then you take a look at the forms, and you say, okay, because I don't know when you're looking at the sheets, I have no idea what these races are. And then you look at the races. Oh, okay, what matter? It equals also the top stakes races. All right, we'll go with that. So then I start getting into actually breaking down the races themselves from the forms, and I didn't even realize it that these first 4 horses in the field, if you look at it, only 2 career turf races and no results in the money out of those 2. So the first 4 horses in a 9-horse field in this Sunshine Filly Mare Turf Stakes basically have never done anything on a turf race, which this is. So that's going to make it difficult, especially when you have 2 of those horses are considered like the top contenders. And 2 of them actually are the top. Actually, those 2 top contenders are going to be 2 of the horses that I'm going to put into my own exacta. So you go into it, Sonar, the number 1 horse, an 8-1 shot. You see the downgrade with the trainer situation, and since then, you can equate that to results. Even though the last couple of races weren't very good either with the former trainer. 4th and 5th, 14-16 on the sheets. Then trainer change on dirt, 20-17-17, 6th, 5th, and 5th. The only good thing is that switches to turf for the first time, doesn't finish well, but runs a 12. And the 12, I believe, is as good as this horse has ever run in 20 career races. And the horse is 8-1. So it's not a terrible idea, but it's a guess because you don't have much to go on, just 1 turf race. But the next 2 horses have never been on turf. So, matter of fact, the next 3 horses have never been on turf. No, actually, the 3 has been on turf once. But bottom line is, it is a gamble. There's no question about it. No money in the last 6. That's not any good. But look, the 12 is the last time out. That's what matters the most, right? Last time out. And maybe the trainer decided, hey, look, this isn't working. Let's move him to turf. We'll see if that does anything. The results say it doesn't, but the sheets say it does. So go there with whatever you want. By the way, the jockey actually rode the number 2 horse, a Vow, in the last 2 races, finished 1st and 2nd. And now Zayas is on Sonar for the first time, at least for the first time in a while, from what I've seen. Actually, he ran at the last race at Gulfstream. So you've got Zayas. Now, I don't know if this is a Zayas decision, trainer decision, whatever the case may be, but I just noticed that Zayas ran on Sonar when he switched to turf last time out and ran that 12, Zayas ran the last 2 races at Gulfstream on dirt. Did that with a vow, finished first and second. Ran 13-13 in those races. So as we move to a vow, we only have 3 races to talk about, and they're all 13s, and they're all on dirt. You also see 6.5, 7 miles, so he's been stretching out, stays at a mile for the second time. Look, the negative is, of course, the odds at 4-1 for a horse that hasn't done anything better than a 13. But in this race, 13, okay, maybe, you never know, could get it done. You're going to have Irad Ortiz and Pletcher. You know they're going to be overpriced. So you're going to have to deal with that. I'm sure the horse will probably go off less than 4-1 based on that connection. But in this race, it's good enough for me to consider that. I'm hoping, look, I got to go on the money line. So I'm hoping I get anywhere from 3 to 4-1, and I think I'll be pretty happy with that, to tell you the truth. Don't Get Cozy is the horse I'm going to put in. I always try to put in at least a horse, as you know, to try to make some money, and that's this one. And so this 67% in the money over Don't Get Cozy's career. 12 wins out of 46 lifetime. Again, though, this horse has only ran on the turf once. Second turf race in 47 starts. How about that? No turf races since 2019. What I do notice on the sheets is last May, hit an 11. That was at Tampa. Then went the opposite way, which is not good. 15, 16, and 20. Changed trainers. Okay. So Elizabeth, is it Douglas? Yeah, I've got a... I believe that's what it is. Anyway, she takes over 13, 15, 16, 17. So starts with a 13. That's pretty strong. Unfortunately, goes the opposite direction. 15, 16, 17. So this horse does seem to race well every once in a while. And then the sheet line goes the wrong way. But what I'm trying to do here is see, okay, well, but the horses run those 11s and 13s every 3 or 4 races, or 4 or 5 races. So again, a guess, but at least I'm getting 12-1, as opposed to maybe guessing from some of these other horses, including, what we talked about with Sonar, or even Avow, who's never been on the turf before. But Don't Get Cozy ran 10s in 2021. She ran 4 of those. Now, she is 6 years old, so maybe she doesn't run any 10s anymore. But the 10s are also good enough for me to say, long shot, I'm looking for some money. Why not go in this direction? And if Elizabeth, who knows? I mean, we'll see if this combination will work. Reyes is having a decent meet. Nothing great, but it's okay. He's been on this horse for all 4 mounts with the new trainer. So again, that's the long shot play for me. Now let's move on to the 4. Sweet Danny Girl, a 7-2 shot. Rosario on board for the first time, but Ortiz was on board the last 2. Those are the 2 grade 2 races. Ran 2 15s. Before that, started with a 14, so that was impressive. Broke maiden right away. Then a 12, so that was even more impressive. But since then, 16, 15, and 15 for Sweet Danny Girl. What you also notice is the 8-month layoff. So that is obviously something that you have to consider. But she is 4 years old. She's one of the younger horses in the field. You've got the trainer off to a really good start so far. And Rosario, as I mentioned, on board, even though he's off to a little slow start so far this meet. But look, there is a 12 in there. It's a young horse, limited starts. The odds aren't very good at 7-2, but I'm going to go ahead and roll my dice with the 4 anyway. Let's go with the 5, and we're not going to spend too much time on Extravagant Rosie, because this horse has only 1 win out of 12 at Gulfstream. It's interesting that this horse has run 76% of her races at 1 mile. And that's exactly what we're going to be seeing here. She did run a 12 in August, but if you take a look at all her other sheet numbers, and by the way, that was a win, that race in August. That 12 came from, and that win came from absolutely nowhere. So we'll skip on the 5. Crystal Coast. Now, Luis Saez is on board. Now, this is an interesting possibility as well that you might want to consider because of the 8-1 shot, as I will consider as well. Because Saez jumped on board last time and immediate win. We hadn't seen a win for Crystal Coast since 2021. So that was the first win in a while. That was the one in December, the last race in December. The problem is you could also say, like I just said with the Extravagant Rosie, is we haven't seen that 13 really before. I mean, where did 13 come from? So, and we would expect then, okay, we haven't seen the 13 in a while. Unlike Extravagant Rosie, the 12 came 3 starts ago. For Crystal Coast, the 13 came in the last start. So does that mean we're going to get a little bit of a bounce here? As John has always taught me, though, once you get to about 5 or 6 weeks out since the last race, the bounce factor kind of goes away a little bit. And that's pretty much where we are right now, heading into the 14th of January. So that's just, again, leave it to you. But what you like about it is the 8-to-1 shot. That's the thing that definitely is appealing with Saez on board. But if that number goes down, if all of a sudden, because of Saez, this horse is a 4 or 5-to-1 shot, then I'm not interested. Sugar Fix, Gaffleone on board. This horse has won 11 out of 32. That's 34% win percentage, which is really awesome. The trainer change, though, hasn't helped out. In the 3 races since the trainer change, Safi Joseph gave up the horse there, got claimed. 3rd, 4th, and 7th, 11, 15, 16 on the sheet numbers. And this is the 2-to-1 horse. I want nothing to do with this horse. I don't know why you would want anything to do with a 2-to-1 horse that has run a 15 and a 16 the last 2. The 15 was the one on turf. The good part is 2 of the races in the last 4, or 2 in the last 3 turf races, were 11 and 10. But again, a different trainer, a trainer that is not as good percentage-wise as Safi Joseph, and the numbers are going the opposite direction. Those it scared me off at 2-to-1. So whether it scares you off or not, leave that, that's your decision. Looking like a queen, the 8 horse is a 12-to-1 shot. And this horse just doesn't have much going for her at all as far as the sheets, as far as the results. So I don't see it. If you look at it here, some percentages, I mean, she has there's some decent ones. Like, for instance, at this distance, at 1 mile, she's hitting the money 62% of the time. When she doesn't run mile races, she hits in the money 25% of the time. So she's in the right race, the right distance. Also, she likes to run a Gulfstream. She's been in the money 55% of the time at Gulfstream. When she's not at Gulfstream, only 17% in the money. And also, when she's on turf, 55%. When she's on a non-turf track, 13% in the money. So the percentages are all good. But you got to consider the horse is 7 years old now. So, and as I mentioned too, we have like 8 races in a row where this horse has not finished first or second. 12-to-1, that's where the horse should be. Seen better days. The trainer's not doing well this year as well. So that's why I preferred going with the other long shot. And the 9 is Mona Stella. Ortiz on board. So Ortiz was on board there a couple starts ago. It didn't matter. Ran a 10 at Tampa in March. Then bounced a little bit to 16 in May. Came back to a 13 in June. But the results the last 3 races have been dismal. 6th, 6th, and 9th. Interesting thing is this horse has been on long layoffs 3 times. She did a layoff after her second race, 6 months off. Came back, won a race, ran a 13 at Gulfstream at 7.5 furlongs, but then took 9 months off after that. Okay, came back again, ran 5 races, and it took 5 months off. And since she's been back, just her last start, okay, because 13 was in June, took off till December, tried to be on turf, weather permitted, knocked her off, went to a 15 off the turf, still bad result. The good thing is 4 for 4 at Gulfstream with 2 wins. 3 for 3 at this distance with 2 wins. So it's just you've got an inconsistent horse as well. When you look at the sheets, it's up and down. Every race is different. And that's a negative look because the last race on turf was a good one. Okay, so you have up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and now you potentially, if that continues, going down. So I don't want nothing to do with Monastella. And I seriously doubt that John would probably, knowing John, he doesn't like horses that take this much time off. That's health issues. It's just not his cup of tea from my experience. But there are some good things. Keep in mind, it's only been 9 starts for this horse at 5 years old. So, and the horse is 10-1, and you got Jose Ortiz. Okay, and you do have a 10 and a 13 in 2 of her last 3 turf races. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to go 2, 3, 4. Those are the 3 that I'm going to put into my exacta. And then the only other horse that I would seriously consider would be the 6 Crystal Coast. That's race 9 at Gulfstream. Now let's go to race number 10. This is the 6 furlong race, Sunshine Sprints Stakes. And this one only has 7 in the field. The 1 is a 5-1 shot. Delgado's looking pretty good so far this meet. Now, this horse is 6 out of 7 at Gulfstream with 3 wins. Also has 3 wins and 7 starts at 6 furlongs. Started, if you really look at it, this horse has had a good trajectory. Starting, if just taking a look at the sheets, starting August of last year, we'll go with the form. 26, 17, 16, 16. Then first race this year, 13, or I should say last year, 2022. Then makes the trainer change. First race, trainer change to Delgado. Runs a 9. Best race. That was at Tampa. Comes back the next race with an 11, winning a grade 3 race. Since then, 12, 13, 12. Leveled off the last 3 races, finishing 5th, 9th, and 3rd? So the last 3 races haven't been all that great. But the 5-1 is the thing that really I'm looking at. At 5-1, it's considered. This is a horse to consider, but if you're getting better odds than that, very much consider. I would Lightning Larry. Those odds come down, and I want nothing to do with Lightning Larry. But there are some good things to like about the 1. The 2 is Gatsby, and this might be my top horse. Gatsby with Saez on board. The last time Saez was on board back in January, win. Okay, that was that race at Gulfstream, 6 furlongs. Same track, same distance, ran a 10 in that race with Saez. This horse, December of 21, ran an 8. The Saez race ran a 10, the first race of 2022. So that back-to-back looking really good. Since then, 18, 22. And then we're going to start moving on, though, but right there, not good. But what you like after that, 22, 16, 15, 14, and 10. The 10 was at Gulfstream in September. Then ran a 13 the next race. So went backwards, unfortunately, but now came back up to an 11 at Tampa again. All right, so there are some good things to like. 54% in the money at Gulfstream over his career. And 50% at this distance in the money over Gatsby's career. I like this Saez on board. The trainer's looking pretty decent so far this meet. And the fact that the horse was going up all the way to the 10, then bounced a little bit to the 13. The thing that we like is came back with the 11. Now I think we're ready to see this horse finish 1st or 2nd on Saturday. The 3 is Unsociable, a 7-2 shot. So you got Maker and Irad Ortiz Jr., so there's a lot to like there. You got 7 out of 8 in the money at Gulfstream. But the big deal here with Unsociable is the obvious one. This horse has never ran on turf, never ran on a dirt fast track. This is a synthetic horse at Gulfstream. So when I say 7 out of 8 at Gulfstream, just keep that in mind. It's not on the surface we're looking for. If you're somebody that says, I don't really care synthetic to dirt to turf, whatever, I just care about the sheets, then there are good things, including the fact that the first 4 races of his career, 22, 20, 19, 17, then bounced to backwards to a 23rd in the next race. But since the 23rd in May, 12, 12, 10. All right, so that 10, very good. Last time out, best race. The horse is on a three race win streak. And then, of course, you see the change because the horse was claimed. No more Safi Joseph. Michael Maker takes over. I don't see that as a big deal. You do get a Rad Ortiz Jr. for the first time. That's huge. That's going to help. But the horse is about almost 3-1. And the horse has never run on a dirt fast track before. The 4 is Legends Can't Die. So Legends Can't Die, and the next two, actually, the horses I'm playing at 3-1 and 4-1. I'd rather go with those horses than a sociable because at least for Legends Can't Die, at least I've got one example on dirt. Gulfstream, 7 furlongs, last time out, ran second with Saez on board. Now goes to Rosario for the first time. So, if you look at it, Saez ran twice, first and second. Rosario gets an opportunity. So that's a good sign. And I think you could say the horse prefers the dirt because the 5 races on turf, not very good. A couple of wins. I'm not saying that's bad, but sheet-wise, the best we got was a 14. And the last two, 17, 18. As I said, Gulfstream, 7 furlongs. You could see there, 22nd December, ran an 11. First time on dirt with Saez at Gulfstream. So I'd rather go with this horse than the 3 based on some of those notes. And then Legal Deal at 4-1. Gulfstream, 64% of the money. First or second, 5 of the last 6. And that was between 10 and 13 as far as sheet numbers in those last 6. So in those last 6 races, you're getting very, consistent 10 to 13 on the sheet line. A couple of 10s in there. We're back in July and June, but 2 11s in the last 3. 11 last time out at Gulfstream. And 45% win percentage, okay, at 6 furlongs. That's a really good percentage. I don't have to emphasize that point. You're looking at basically half the time this horse runs at 6 furlongs, this horse is coming through with a win. You do have to keep in mind new jock. Paco Lopez takes over. Haven't seen Paco and this horse in a while, at least, based on the form. But look, also, this horse ran an 8 at Gulfstream Park at 7 furlongs in December of 2021. So even though the last 5 races are between 10 and 13, the horse did run an 8. Now, how many other horses in his field have run an 8? I don't even know if there's been one horse that have run an 8. Oh, yes, Gatsby, another horse we like. Boca Boy is the 6, an 8-1 shot. You got Jose Ortiz, so that's an upgrade. You got good odds at 8-1, so that's good. The last 5 races have been 4 in the money. That's nice. Unfortunately, no wins since 2021, so that's a big issue. But look, 4 to 5 at Gulfstream, 2 wins. That's nice. Unfortunately, just 1 win out of 6 at 6 furlongs. The horse has also been away from Gulfstream, and maybe that's a good thing. But the sheets just aren't saying anything for the career anyhow. It's not like you go back and, those 5 races at Gulfstream a couple years ago were all good sheet lines. Not the case. The horse ran a 9 2 starts ago, and that's it. We the best before that was a 12, 14. Earlier, if you want to look at early 2022, was running 3 20s in a row. Ran an 18 in September. So that's why the horse is 8-1. But again, you get an upgrade with Ortiz, and the odds are okay. But this is not going to be the horse for me. Matter of fact, unfortunately, this is a race where I do not have a long shot, which kind of blows. But I mean, if you were looking for a long shot, I look, Lightning Larry. If I get good odds with Lightning Larry, and these odds are not all going to stay the same. One of these horses, the odds are going up. And if Lightning Larry's odds go up, then I'm going to probably play Lightning Larry at some point. Because Boca Boy is the only other horse that you can do anything with. Because really, there's only 2 long shots in the field. The 7, Cajun's Magic, is the next one at 10-1. But this horse has never run anything better than a 13. And this year ran a 13, 14, 23, going the opposite direction. So why would we want a Cajun's Magic? And the results haven't been good at all. This horse has lost by a combined over 35 lengths the last 3 races. while running the 13 to 14 and the 23. So why would we want to touch Cajun's Magic? The only thing that this horse has going for it, I guess, is 1-for-1 at this distance. That was at Gulfstream, and that was a 14. So that's, which was this almost, really, if you look at it, the best race of this horse's career. The combination of winning, the sheet number, and so forth, and it was at Gulfstream at 6 furlongs. So that's what you got going on with Cajun's Magic, but that's it. So I'm hoping Lightning Larry, I'm hoping the odds, because, again, like I said, when you have all these horses, only 2 at 8 or 10 to 1, everyone else is like 5 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 to 1. That's 5 horses. Somebody's bound to get odds better than you're hoping. I mean, better than actually, not that you're hoping, but you are hoping for it to be better. So one of them you're going to get lucky with odds-wise, and I'm hoping it's Lightning Larry. But if not, I'll go 2, 4, and 5. Those would be the 3 horses I'll go with. And Gatsby's is my top choice, the 2. So for John Hardoon, for Chad Summers, I'm Greg DePalma. Enjoy. Best of luck on Saturday. That's tomorrow's card. And we'll see you next week.